Hi, I'm James Shillinglaw, and I'm here with a familiar face to many of you in the trade, Bob Gilbert, CTC, who is the commercial director for eRoam in North America. And what's eRoam? Well, we wrote about this last week, and it's been around for a little while, but it's something that might help travel advisors specifically right now as we kind of refocus, at least for the moment, on domestic travel. And we're going to find out all about eRoam and more on Insider Travel Report. Now, Bob, first of all, how are you and where are you?
So, very healthy. Some would say overly healthy, but that's a good thing, especially in these days. And I am in the Buffalo suburbs, Buffalo, New York. So Western New York.
Western New York. You've been up
there for Buffalo Bills.
You've been up there for a while now. It's great. And you're in a state now that has got lower numbers, and at least for now, we hope. But it's great. Now let's get to this. You did put out a press release. This is last week that we talked about your product and how it can help travel advisors at this time during the coronavirus pandemic. How can you help maybe get some business for them? What is eRoam?
So eRoam is a new generation cloud-based leisure booking platform. And in its kind of, if you distill it down, it has four components. It has an itinerary builder. It has a dynamic marketplace that is attached to the itinerary builder with real-time inventory and rates. It has an integrated booking engine and an automated reconciliation function as well. So basically, soup to nuts. And there are some very fine software products out there that do very, very well in the itinerary planning. Very pretty, nice to be able to send to your clients, but they stop there. Mm-hmm. And what we do is to continue the journey and do the heavy lifting on behalf of the travel agency, travel advisor. Building a customized itinerary is just a piece of that whole process. And so to be able to do that, but then fulfill and to be able to, really add all the bells and whistles as much as one wants to from an advisor standpoint is, I think, where we have a huge differential over a typical itinerary planning software.
Now, your company has been around for a few years. I'm losing track of time these days, but can you give us some background on the company and who formed it?
Yes. The company actually started in 2015 by Anthony Hill and Ross Gregory, two veterans in the industry based out of Australia. And they had the idea many years before. They started a company back in 2000 called Adventure Travel Company, which is still in operation today. And they felt that there was a need within the travel agency industry of enabling technology, that it took them way too long to build a customized itinerary, because if you think about it, in the current landscape, with a little asterisk on there with the COVID-19 asterisk, so I use that word, current landscape, but the advisor today has to go out. They spend hours and hours searching, going through wholesale portals, going to GDS portals, going to tour operators, contacting DMCs. That takes forever.
A lot of different websites to go through, right?
Oh my gosh. Back in the day, when I was a frontline agent, it used to take even longer because we didn't have the technology. I mean, I go back to the days when I used to handwrite a ticket. So, this technology, it's an enabling technology that takes away all of that heavy lifting and literally replaces it all of that due diligence in literally seconds, in under 1 minute.
Wow.
That's how long it can take to put together a very complex itinerary that not only is just an itinerary, but links to an active dynamic marketplace and integrates at a click the ability to book it or to save it to the dashboard. So yeah, it's pretty nifty.
Yeah. Now you mentioned in the release that a lot of travel advisors, and I kind of agree with you that here in the U.S. aren't really set up to provide and book a lot of domestic trips, shorter stuff and things like that versus international trips. I mean, obviously, one of the reasons is they probably get a higher commission on some of these international trips. But why do you think, a lot of advisors really have, I wouldn't say ignored, but they sort of emphasize maybe cruising and international versus some domestic?
Well, it's a good question, and I think one has to look at the commission piece and the relationships that agency chains, consortia, and even individual agencies have with suppliers. It can be considered, or at least perceived, to be much easier to book a particular tour, an all-inclusive, a cruise, than to go into the weeds in creating an itinerary, almost like an FIT. Well, an FIT, that customized itinerary, that bespoke itinerary that really takes, or at least has the perception and used to take a long time to actually plan, which can be actually, I think, from an earnings potential, far more lucrative, or as lucrative as the commissions made on some of the more mainstream products that can be sold.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that's what they're going to have to look at right now. Now, specifically, how would, let's say, eRoam work in terms of building domestic itineraries and offering booking solutions for them?
Okay, it actually works exactly the same as it does for international. I mean, the plumbing is identical in terms of the methodology and the usage of artificial intelligence, machine learning, which is part of that next gen technology. But very simply, what a travel advisor would do is to look at number one, you enter the name of the client very simply. You put the departure dates. You put preferences. What are preferences? Preferences could be the class of hotel or the lodging option, which could be a condo or an Airbnb type product. And then you put the different destinations into the planner. Then you click and let eRoam get to work, and that's where the magic happens.
And it's going to give you options at that point to.
Yeah. So if you put in a basic itinerary plan of, let's say, San Francisco, going north up the 101 to Eureka, which is a beautiful coastal town in Northern California, up to Oregon, and through Portland, do the Willamette Valley, taste some nice wines, and go up into Seattle. That's a nice road trip.
Yeah, let's go. I'm there.
Let's do it. Right, exactly. Well, I can book it in seconds. So, but just the thought of doing that as an advisor, it's oh my God, that sounds cumbersome, but that's where the eRoam magic comes into play. So just by putting in the basic information, in seconds, up comes an itinerary that you can go in and customize. You can look at the lodging. You can look at the kinds of activities that are bookable activities in a particular destination. If you want to go out on a kayak for the Eel River get back to Eureka, you can book that. You can change the kinds of accommodations. So it's very interactive, very user friendly, and it's as easy as, or easier than booking an all-inclusive to Jamaica, which right now, obviously, there are restrictions. So the ability to be the expert and the ultimate professional that a travel advisor is today, it really is as simple as dragging and dropping. It's all done on the click of a mouse, no green screen, very interactive. You have maps that you can look at. You can plot the itinerary. You can change the itinerary with a click of a mouse. You can look at the itinerary itself, drill down, and get very, very deep, as deep as you want to be able to get into, on behalf of your client.
Now, the products you offer, obviously, hotels, big part of it. That's going to be where a lot of the commission is going to come from. Transportation, I assume, in some cases, car rental, maybe airline, and then obviously activities, day tours, things like that. That's all available through eRoam, right?
That is correct. So in terms of coverage, obviously covering the globe, this conversation, really focused on the domestic and the road trip. But the functionality within it, stretches out to about 100,000 destinations worldwide, deep curated information on about 20,000 cities around the world, 750,000 hotels and lodging options, hundreds of thousands of things to see and do. It's really, a comprehensive, probably is the better word, leisure booking engine, including flights, trains, transfers, and a whole bunch more. And although, and this is the interesting thing, James, although there is this huge aggregated content, if one is a travel agency owner or I'll specifically look out to some of the larger chains, the ability to not just use the aggregated content, but to use the preferred suppliers, or only the preferred suppliers,
okay.
Can be also achieved, or a blend, a mix of the two. So it's it's a product that, although it's only been around for 5 years, it's been put through some trials and tests. It was I'm not sure if you know of the Virtuoso Incubator Program.
Yes, I know it very well. Yes.
Okay, so eRoam passed that with flying colors last year. So,
oh, wonderful! Yeah, that's a good program in terms of getting great new technology in the hands of travel advisors.
Exactly right. And so we wanted to run the gauntlet there, and as I say, we came out with flying colors. So you've already had the trials, if you will, with very experienced.
So now you've had 5 years in the market, and you're fine tuning it and making it better. But essentially, it sounds like what eRoam is kind of an instant wholesaler with a lot of bells and whistles and a lot more activities and things you can do with it, right? So you can, everybody can book an all-inclusive vacation through a major wholesaler now with ease. But now you're talking about more complicated itineraries that you are equally as easy to do, right?
Yes. And there are prepackaged tours in there as well. So we've literally got thousands of tour operators, some global names that are there that can be booked, can be incorporated into the itinerary, and you can upload your own. Let's say you have Sabre bookings, you can upload the bookings you have from Sabre into the system, and that's integrated. So you really have a very robust platform that is extremely affordable.
And I assume you can integrate with CRM tools like and like client base and things like that.
Yes. So we can integrate on the back end from a reconciliation perspective and work with the agency's payment gateway and with middleware. Okay. And so, and every day there's a new enhancement, to the to eRoam, and technology never sleeps.
No, that's true. It never does. Now, you already gave me a good example of a trip between San Francisco and Eureka. So doing a little wine tasting there. But what's the cost to travel advisors who want to use eRoam, and how can they access the platform?
So I think the costs, comparatively speaking, are very affordable, even under in today's circumstances. So one can, and a travel advisor can get on board from under $2 a day, and you get everything that I've been talking about. Obviously, if it's an agency that has several shops, then we get it more into the enterprise. If it's a chain or a consortia, then we'll have the conversation, which is going to be basically around integration and APIs to their preferred suppliers. But to get on board, less money than I spend on Starbucks a day. So,
basically about you're talking about $60 a month or something like that.
Just under $60 a month, correct?
Sounds great.
Per advisor.
Per advisor, yeah. No, that sounds great. Now, is there anything else you want to tell travel advisors about eRoam and how they can use it to get more business at this time?
I think that embrace technology, embrace enabling technology, embrace technology that does the whole job, not just a part of the job, because it's out there. And I think that we've moved from an era of predictability, more or less, over the last 10 years or so, since the end of 2008-9, when we had that depression, the economic downturn. Now we have something much bigger, obviously, and we find ourselves in an age of adaptability. So we've gone from predictability to adaptability, and we need to be able to understand that and be very open to that kind of technology that's going to enable the professional travel advisor to weather the storm, to pivot, look at, move from what's not available now, the international and people's reluctance to get on an airplane or a cruise, and to look at making money. And there is money to be made by starting with the road trips and the local and regional trips, and then progress as we are able, as governments and as time and vaccines allow us.
No, absolutely. It's going to be a challenging time for the next few months. Hopefully we will finally emerge by next year. We keep hoping it'd be sooner, but increasingly with what's going on. And of course, now you look to Europe and other places, and they are starting to travel and get back to normal. So there is hope in other parts of the world that we can get there. But unfortunately, here in the U.S., we're just not there yet. Now, is there any, where can travel advisors go to find out more about eRoam, and how can they contact you to get more information and then actually sign up?
Sure. Yeah, and I agree with you. There is a light at the end of the tunnel, and agencies are resilient. From the days when airlines stopped paying commissions to people saying there's not the travel agents are going to disappear. Far from the truth. And I think that that there's certainly opportunity. And anyway, so getting back to your question, eRoam.com, eRoam.com. Or they can contact me directly at bob@eRoam.com.
That's very simple. Now, Bob, I want to thank you for taking the time to explain eRoam. I remember when it came out and it sounded like a great idea. And now you've gotten validation from your participation in the Virtuoso Incubator, which is definitely a great program for new technologies. And now with the current crisis, you may have be the right product at the right time. Even though you can do international. And so this is something that once this is over, you can then start booking your international trips. But it's a marvelous, relatively new product that keeps getting refined. And again, it's great to see you. I've known you for a little bit of time over the years, and I think we've been around. But I'm glad I had this opportunity to talk to you about eRoam. And again, thanks very much.
Thank you, James, and good to see you fighting fit.
I'm James Shillinglaw, and this is Insider Travel Report.